Morgan, the first ever.
Natalya, Liv Morgan, and many other WWE stars react to heartbreaking post from Dominik Mysterio. WWE Superstar Dominik Mysterio went through a major personal loss as his great-uncle Rey Misterio Sr. passed away recently. The former NXT North American Champion posted a heartwarming tribute for the late wrestler, which caught the attention of many of his pro wrestling colleagues such as Liv Morgan, Natalya, and Berto, among others. The news of Rey Misterio Sr.'s passing was shared by his son, El Hijo de Rey Misterio. The late star was also Rey Mysterio's uncle and Dirty Dom's great-uncle, while the WWE Hall of Famer has so far maintained his silence. Dominik has shared a couple of posts paying tribute to his departed family member. Many of Dom's colleagues sent him love and support for his loss. Among those were Natalya and Berto, who commented on Dominik Mysterio's post. Meanwhile, Liv Morgan, Maxxine Dupri, Raquel Rodriguez, Zilla Fatu, Austin Theory, and many others sent their condolences by liking the post. Dominik Mysterio has come a long way in his WWE career. Dominik Mysterio made his pro wrestling less than 5 years ago. However, the 27-year-old has made great strides since then and is now a prominent part of WWE programming. He is also one of the company's best heels and often gets the loudest reactions in any arena. The Judgment Day member recently looked back on his career, talking about the moment that earned him respect from his peers. Dominik recalled taking numerous kendo stick shots from Seth Rollins, against whom he had his first feud in the global juggernaut. I like to call it the kendo crucified when I just got tied to the ropes and got beat absolutely. I think it was like 37 kendo shots total that I ended up taking. I remember that night, I got it seemed like a lot of respect from the guys in the back, and almost like a welcome to the business kid type of moment, Dominik said. Dominik Mysterio found his footing as a heel after being underwhelming as a babyface. He is the centerpiece in the ongoing rivalry between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley and could play a major role in the upcoming Women's World Championship match between the two. Result of Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan's Women's World title match on Raw's debut on Netflix predicted by WWE analyst. Rhea Ripley will challenge Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship on Raw's debut on Netflix. WWE analyst Sam Roberts predicted the result of the highly anticipated clash. The Eradicator and the Judgment Day member have been feuding for most of 2024. Morgan captured the Women's World Championship from Becky Lynch after Ripley relinquished the title earlier due to an injury she suffered at the hands of her 30-year-old rival. Upon her comeback, Mommy challenged Morgan for the title at WWE SummerSlam. However, she lost after Dominik Mysterio turned on her and sided with her opponent. Despite later defeating Morgan via disqualification at Bad Blood, the latter retained the title. The two female superstars will now square off again on the premiere of Raw on Netflix. Speaking on his Not Sam Wrestling podcast, Roberts predicted that the Eradicator would leave the show with the title. I think that this is where Rhea Ripley wins back the title, and then you start telling whatever story you're going to tell going into WrestleMania for Rhea. Because I think with Rhea now, going into WrestleMania 40 was like the last great sort of iconic challenge for Rhea Ripley was Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, and she beat her. So now Rhea Ripley needs to be in that role at WrestleMania that Becky Lynch was in. Not to say Rhea's got to lose, but Rhea Ripley's got to be in that role, where whoever is got next has to go to WrestleMania to try to beat Rhea Ripley, he said. Will Rhea Ripley leave WWE Raw if she fails to beat Liv Morgan? On the Busted Open podcast, wrestling veteran Tommy Dreamer addressed the upcoming Women's World Championship match between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. The former WWE superstar claimed the Eradicator would have to move to SmackDown if she failed to win the title on Raw's debut on Netflix. If Liv Morgan somehow continued to beat Rhea Ripley, then it's time for Rhea to maybe move over to SmackDown. If Rhea wins on that first episode of Raw on Netflix, she's cementing herself and her face as the face of the women's division, he said. It would be interesting to see if Ripley would finally accomplish her mission of recapturing the Women's World Championship that she had never lost. Rhea Ripley references Liv Morgan arrest, tells her to touch less grass. Rhea Ripley has reopened old wounds as her rivalry with Liv Morgan continues. The two WWE superstars have dominated the Women's World Championship scene throughout 2024. Morgan has terrorized Rhea Ripley since the Raw after WrestleMania 40, injuring her and forcing the Women's World Championship title to be vacated. This allowed Liv Morgan to win the belt herself. She defended it against Rhea Ripley multiple times while also laying claim to Dominic Mysterio, snatching him from her rival in the process. The feud between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan continued in a brutal chain of messages on Twitter. Ripley called Dominic Mysterio a dusty-ass poor excuse for a man, while reiterating that she wants to reclaim the WWE Women's World Championship. Truth is, I don't need nor want that dusty-ass poor excuse for a man. I want one thing, and I will get it. Can't wait to see you and your pathetic sheep cry about it. Ripley tweeted back at Liv. However, Rhea Ripley had the last laugh as she fired the best shot. The Australian referenced Liv Morgan's arrest last year. She was arrested for possession of marijuana, which she referenced by telling her, "Touch a little less grass." Despite having been going for almost the entirety of 2024, it doesn't look like the battles between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan are going to be over anytime soon. Liv Morgan emerged victorious against Iyo Sky at WWE Saturday Night's main event. In the Saturday Night main event of WWE, the perfect conditioning brought out the best in Liv Morgan against Iyo Sky in a contest, winning, definitely making momentous ground for Morgan as an emerging star in women's wrestling. The match was indeed next in a long line of perfectly athletic, highly intense performances, so well-matched and energy-driven and high-action form by Morgan defined. An overall amazing competitive action with intense rivalry. Both Morgan and Iyo had a match between themselves that has sparked and drawn flames on a war that ensued for some time now, as the two wrestlers each held victory after their respective combats. It had been an important match for Morgan as she was going for the big win to establish herself in the upper echelon of WWE. Throughout the match, Morgan made quick strikes with high-flying maneuvers, entertaining action, and energized style, keeping pressure on Sky. The near falls from both women throughout this battle pushed the crowd to the edge of their seats, with it being parts of pure athleticism. Morgan learned to take punishment and counter quickly as she was evolving into a competitor, whereas Sky relied on speed and technique to present her many difficulties. Rhea Ripley comes calling for Liv Morgan. Saturday Night's main event highlights, December 14th, 2024. With this win, Morgan looks forward to a brighter future within WWE. Indeed, this victory would have far-reaching consequences, possibly paving the way for new rivalries and interesting storylines for next year. Quite many fans are now waiting to know how T.